Hello? Yeah. Hey, I'm trying to make a YouTube video right now and they're going to think I'm crazy. I'm sitting here on cell phone and the video camera is rolling right now. Oh, hang on just a second. I had a text come in. Sorry about that. And these people on YouTube probably think I've lost my mind, but in reality, I probably should get off of here so I can go ahead and make this video. Hey everybody, I'm Shad today with Real Life in the Bible. I'm going to talk to you today about these cell phones. My question is, has these things right here, our cell phone, become an addiction? You look around, we are so connected to these cell phones, it is scary. And that's what we're talking about. Am I addicted to my cell phone? How much time am I spending on this thing? How much time is it robbing me of on doing things that are more important? Well, I'm glad you chose to join in today. Don't cut it off. I got one article I want to read that I found very kind of alarming and disturbing at the same time. So I'm going to bore you for just a second. So stay with me. Don't click off yet, but I want you to listen to what this report says. They had done a study. Now stay with me. The average American spends 4.5 hours looking at their cell phones every day. I had to look at that again. 4.5 hours that the average American spends looking at their cell phone. And it's not just talking on the phone. Ain't none of us talk 4 hours long. Well, there are some that probably could. But 4.5 hours every day. That quickly adds up over time to about 1 day every week, 6 days every month, and 70 days every year. According to a small Stanford study, children are getting their first cell phone around the age of 12. Now, I don't know exactly when this study was done, but I know for a fact kids younger than 12 are now getting cell phones. That's disturbing. If the average life expectancy of American is 76 years old, that would mean the average American would spend 12 years staring at their phone screens over a lifespan. Staring at it. 12 years. If you live to be 76 from the time you get a cell phone and you live to be 76, all added up, that comes up to 12 hours in a lifetime staring at our phone screens. One generation majorly exceeds the average daily screen time. Gen Z or Gen Zers spend an average of 6 hours and 5 minutes on their phone daily. The generation who spends the least amount of time on their phones is the baby boomers, who spend about 3 hours and 31 minutes. I don't know why they put that 1 minute on there. 3.5 hours a day on their devices. Over 2 in 5, which is 43% of Americans, feel their average screen time is higher than they thought it would be. Many are hoping to make themselves less reliant on their phones in 2024, with 40% trying to cut down on screen time. Why are people so addicted to their phones? Nearly half of Americans feel addicted to their phones. Gen Z and millennials feel more addicted compared to the older generation. Why are people drawn to their phones? The top reason Americans use their phones so much, number one, is entertainment. Others turn to their phone out of boredom. Can you relate? I can. You get bored, what do you pick up? Your cell phone. To do what? Really nothing if you think about it. To get entertained. Others turn to their phone out of boredom, distraction, and even habit. And I believe for many of us, that cell phone has become a habit. We're using it more than what we realize, and it is strictly becoming a habit. But I'm going to call it more than that. I believe it is an addiction. More than half Americans think they're too dependent on these technology devices. 74% get nervous if they don't know where their phone is. How many times have you lost your cell phone and you turned the house upside down trying to find it? Or maybe you walked out of the house in a hurry and you've done made it halfway to work or to Walmart or wherever it is you're going. You realize you don't have your cell phone and you literally hit the brakes, make a U-turn, squealing the rubber on the tires to get back home to get your cell phone because you don't believe you can make it without it. Guilty. Done it before. 74% get nervous if they don't know where their cell phone is. Others don't go places without their cell phone or use their phone at times they probably shouldn't. Nearly 3 in 5, which is 59%, use their phones on the toilet. On the toilet. And 27% text while at stoplights. You know, I'm telling you, I've seen it at my job. I never thought I'd see a day the employer has to put signs in the restroom, in the stalls, that say, no cell phones allowed in the restroom. Because workers are going into the restroom to do their business and will end up spending 30 minutes, more than one time a day, sitting there on the toilet looking at their cell phone. For what? And the employers have realized that's costing them money and work's not getting done. I know me and my wife, we were up in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee a couple weeks ago, and we went out to eat. Just about every time we went out to eat. Well, actually every time we went out to eat. You look around a restaurant and here sits families gathered around the table to eat a meal, and every one of them are doing this on their cell phone. No communication, no talking to each other. Everybody's head was into their cell phones. And you know, that's sad. It breaks my heart because we are wasting short, valuable time with our phones. And it's very alarming. And as far as the texting goes, ex-firefighter, the wrecks, there's more people killed or hurt in wrecks in 2024 than there was drunk driving. We've got a problem. There is a problem. I've met people on the road where they veered over into my lane. And they look up and they jerk, but they still got that cell phone held in their hand. One hand on the wheel, one hand on the cell phone. Now, have I been guilty? Absolutely. But I got a hold of myself and realized that, you know what? This ain't good. There's something that needs to be done about it. We need to put our cell phones down. Statistics show that 48% have even found themselves zombie scrolling. Just scrolling for no reason. Not really looking for any certain thing, which is when you find yourself scrolling on your phone without a specific purpose for opening or using it. It's something all generations struggle with, but our previous report on anxiety in Gen Z has found that the young generation in particular is prone to this excessive social media use. Now, why am I sharing with this? This is supposed to be real Bible talk. If you've watched any of our videos, you realize that we talk about seeking God, our time we spend with God. We done one on Christian malnourishment. We wonder why we're weak and all that. And I know a lot of times people say, well, I don't read my Bible because I don't have time. You've got the time. I've got the time. If you really stop and think about it, if you add up the time that we have spent on our cell phones versus the time that we have spent reading God's Word, listening to something positive, we are robbing ourselves and we don't realize that the joy and the peace and the happiness that we seek and that we desire, that cell phone is robbing us of it. We're so attached to them. We're so attached to social media. Everybody's connected 24/7. And I believe this is absolutely a problem. It was a problem. I was falling into it myself. I'm 50 years old. But now I have made up my mind that when I get home from work in the evening, I may check the weather. There's a couple I follow on some other sites. I may check on them, do a little bit of reading on it, and then I literally lay my phone down and I say, you know what? I'm not going to touch it. But here's my question. What if we treated our Bibles like we did our cell phone? And I know our cell phones have the Bible out, but I can promise you, as an old schooler, it's great we have the Bible apps. It's awesome. You've got access to the Bible 24/7. But that cannot replace taking that real Bible and opening it up and reading it. Laying that cell phone down to the side and saying, you know what? I'm not going to fall into this addiction. I'm going to give God some of my time. But what if we did? What if we treated our Bible like our cell phones? What if we got spooked enough that when we left our Bible at home, we would literally hit the brakes, make a U-turn, and squeal the rubber on the tires to turn back around and get it? How much stronger would we be as Christians if we treated our Bibles like a cell phone? Sounds crazy, but it's the truth. I know a lot of young people in this day and time right now, depression and anxiety is at its highest because of things connected to social media. You go out in a public place, you go to Walmart, to an eating place, you go out in public and everybody has got that phone with them. They're either like this, they're like that, and they have everything else tuned out. How do we fix it? Well, I think it starts with us older ones. It starts with you, parents, showing that 12-year-old kids, and I know it's younger than that now, get their first cell phone. You're part of the problem because you're giving it to them at such a young age. And these things right here, these devices, open up a door that damage a lot of children, a lot of kids. There's been a lot of adults damaged by these. Well, what do you mean? Social media? We think that because on Facebook somebody didn't hit like or shared what we put up, that they're mad at us or we've done something wrong. I've heard the stories. It's pathetic and it's real. And people get depressed because they didn't get many likes on something. They didn't get many shares on something. You know what? It's got to change. Who does it start with? It starts with you. It starts with me. And I'm making a commitment that, you know what? I'm sick and tired of wasting my time with this little device right here. And then I make statements like, well, I just don't have time to read my Bible. I don't have time to pray. I don't have time to go to church. And that's another thing. You go to church. I'm glad the Bible app's on the phone. But you go to church, I have literally seen in church service that I know for a fact, people were back there texting or scrolling through social media and not even listening to the preacher. Not even engaging into the worship because they're back here doing like this. People, we got a problem. I think we need to make a change. And that starts with you, that starts with me, making a choice and making a decision. It's already been proven that we have become addicted to our devices. And don't think for 1 minute Satan won't use that to his advantage. You don't believe me? Young boys, young girls exposed to pornography, sex traffickers. Well, you're just blowing it all out and saying all this bad stuff about it. There are good things with technology, but technology, I believe, has got out of control. It's got plumb out of control, and we have become addicted to it. Our kids, our grandkids, are being exposed to things that they should never be exposed to. And it all starts with a parent going and buying them their first cell phone at 12, 10, 9, 8, whatever. You know, I don't know about you. I'm 50 years old, and when cell phones first come out, the trend started way back there. We can't blame Generation Z or Gen Z for it. Us older people let it happen. We're allowing it to happen in our homes. So I want to encourage you today, stop and look how much you're using your phone. If you've got kids or grandkids, Pay attention to how much they're using their phone. And make some ground rules in your home that, when it's time to sit down and have a meal together, get a bucket. Matter of fact, I'd get a bucket and fill it up with water and have everybody to put their phones in there and say, you know what? During mealtime, no phones. I have literally seen parents, instead of tearing the kid's tail up and giving them a whooping like what I used to get when I was a kid, the whoopings don't faze them. The spank, time out, whooping, whatever. They threaten them, I'll take your phone away from you. And the kid is so upset, like his world just come to an end because they're getting their cell phone taken away from them. Man, I don't know about you, but something's got to change. I'm going to do my part. Are you going to do yours? God bless each and every one of you. We love you and see you here next time.